Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another videos? Another paid request this time from Gia. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. It's fun doing these comparison videos. So for anyone who has requests for any more of that type of stuff, uh, I know I Live Again 1 has 2 more coming up of comparisons. Feel free. You can send either directly to my PayPal. That's usually the best bet. Links are down below in the info box. And here it's Batman Returns versus Venom 2. Probably the case being they're both sequels to superhero movies. One DC, one technically Marvel. And of course Batman Returns easily wins. But yeah, I think it's what makes Batman Returns work and what makes Venom 2 not work. I think that's where Gia is coming from. I perfectly get that. Number one, when you break it down, the villains. The Penguin felt dangerous with the way Danny DeVito with the makeup and how sinister and slimy he is. His whole plan by the end is to take the children of Gotham and drown their ass in the fucking sewer in this waste. That's pretty fucking ballsy for a superhero movie. And just how nasty he is, where he's biting people in the nose, ready to bite their nose off, and just grotesque freak of nature. He's definitely a slimy, creepy villain. And then you also have Catwoman, who's very sexy, femme fatale. If I die by you, maybe it'd be alright, maybe it won't be too bad, you know. But at the same time, there's a bit more to her character, because you feel sorry for her, because of what she went through with Christopher Walken's character. Sultry, sexy, to be the best Catwoman there's been. Michelle Pfeiffer knocked out of the park with a great costume. And on the flip side, you got Woody Harrelson, who I like Woody Harrelson, but he's going a bit campy with his performance. The dialogue doesn't help him. I think that's where it really lost track. Not so much Woody, but the dialogue, the way they made his hair. I get it. It's supposed to be red. I don't think, as much as I like Woody Harrelson, I do not think he was the right choice for that character. Or if you don't want to have it, you needed a better writer, better director. I'm sorry, Andy Serkis. I think you're a better actor than director. I do. Andy Serkis, who worked Lord of the Rings. I mean, just look up Andy Serkis. You'll know who he is. My precious. You're better fit for that. You're not a director. Like, Tim Burton is a director, and this was in his heyday. Beetlejuice, the first Batman, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, rest in peace, Paul Rubens, who's in this film as Penguin's dad. You have Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. I love Ed Wood. I love Sleepy Hollow. This is in his heyday, in his prime, Tim Burton. He knew how to work this a lot better than Andy Serkis, and especially the villains. And the Carnage, when he does come to play, it's not really much of anything. He's barely call him a character. He's a plot point. Like, Penguin and Catwoman felt like characters, even as villains. Carnage felt like just a arbitrary plot point because he's in the fucking title of the movie, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. But can you remember really anything Carnage says or does, any type of personality he has? That was one of the faults of, in the comics, you saw that Carnage had a personality. He was loving being psychotic. I'm not talking about Cassidy. Cletus. What was it, Cletus Cassidy? I'm bad with names. But like Carnage felt like he had a personality of bloodthirsty. Here you didn't see anything other than Venom. I need to kill him. That's it. Like there's nothing to it, to him, which I found very mind-boggling. They would make that choice. Like, you didn't know, like, Venom is his own character and Eddie Brock is his own character. But they did not do that with, like, Woody Harrelson is his own character, but Carnage wasn't. He wasn't a character. Explain to me why. Especially if you're a fan of Venom 2, explain to me why make that choice. Again, lack of personality, lack of anything. Edge. I mean, you would think with Carnage in the mix, it would have much more of an edge over, say, Batman Returns, but that's not the case. Because you have stupid humor, which I'll get to. You have goofy ass stuff. It's rated PG-13, which Carnage, you can't neuter that character who's a fucking serial killer, who has blades that could rip people to shreds. And they completely neutered it, and they completely just wimped out on it. No balls. Batman Returns is PG-13, but there were balls in that movie. To the point that McDonald's got fucking pissed. Because the film fucking scared kids. Didn't scare me. I'm like, yeah! Maybe because at that time I was watching Predator or Rambo First Blood Part 2. I'm like, this is... I was watching Aliens. I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street. So, I'm like, cool. But... Venom 2 didn't make McDonald's scared. Batman Returns made McDonald's scared. Thus, then, they didn't want Tim Burton back for Batman 3, and they got Joe Schumacher and more of a campier vibe. But I mentioned like with the villains and the way that's showcased, and the one woman that gets the bats on her and she falls to her death, and people think Batman did it, and the very beginning where the fucking babies you find as a freak and the parents put into a dam down the river. And I actually like that different take on Penguin, because Penguin was just a guy that was a criminal thug. A bit like what they did in the new Batman film with Colin Farrell, which I like that portrayal as well. But I do like this portrayal too. I like this take on it. And it fits with Dim. Now he's Tim Burton, because I can't think of the last film he did worth of shit. But back he was Tim Burton. I gotta remember that. Dim Burton now. Tim Burton back then. He knew how to work that style. And that's another thing. The style. There's a unique style in Batman Returns. The way Gotham looks and the streets and I don't know if it was matte paintings, but you feel that whole city is a character on its own. What styles in Venom 2? Just a lot of badly done CGI. Batman Returns, 1992. Again, I'm bad with names and bad with dates. You had to do stuff practical, or you can't do it at all. And that shit holds up more. So have the circus thuds and the way the costumes are done, and Batman has to burn them, and you missed. Knocks the guy out, and punching people and kicking people's ass, and with the cars on remote control, and it's bashing through the cars, and you have to actually have real cars blasted up as the Batmobile is going through. Always love the design of that Batmobile. It's my favorite Batmobile. I love the design of the suit. It's my favorite Batman suit. Both 89 Returns. Favorite Batmobile, favorite Batsuit. And on the flip side, Venom 2 was like a lot of bad CGI. When Carnage they're taking over the prison, and that shitty looking vortex, I didn't know Carnage created tornadoes. I read some of the comments with Carnage. When the fuck did he ever do a goddamn cartoony tornado? It looked like shit. And then the whole finale with all the CGI and the church, blah blah blah. It just looked unappealing. Because you could tell nothing's tangible, nothing's real, so the threat is low. There are films I enjoy that have that, to be fair. There are. And you judge each film as it is. Either because you're enjoying the characters, or you're enjoying the story, you're enjoying some of the personality, or something else about the film that you're enjoying. In this case, I didn't feel that, and it was just a bunch of crappy CGI and very few set pieces. I felt there was more set pieces in Batman Returns. Batman battling the circus gang. Batman and Catwoman having a little back and forth. Then the bat boat, I forget the term, having to go through the sewers and the rock is coming after it. Batman saving the kids. There's not much of Venom, the title character, really having set pieces of his own until like the very end of the movie. Like, what does Venom actually do in the second film? They bicker, they bitch, like a couple, trying to infer like they're a gay couple, or the odd couple. Venom goes to a club, drops the mic, possessing people, overtaking people, I should say, and helps Eddie Brock solve a crime, draw this thing, because I looked at a second, I'll draw it for you, helped your career. But there's no action set piece perspective until what? Then Carnage escapes in that shitty tornado. There's a bit where like they're driving and Carnage, they throw like a car and they get shrieked out and they're messing with some helicopters. There's more Carnage action than Venom action, to be honest. And the Carnage action really is just kind of what you would typically see in another generic, overpriced CGI superhero movie. So yeah, you look at the villains in Batman Returns, you look at the Edge, hell, the way Penguin dies, where the shit's coming out of his mouth, and he falls flat on his face. I could do without the actual penguins, like picking him up for the funeral. It's a bit goofy, but also a bit strange enough to be interesting. Also, the lead, Michael Keaton, is cool. He's badass. In Venom, he's goofy, silly, bickering, odd couple, ready to suck each other's dicks. Eddie, what have you done for me lately, Eddie? And I know people like that banter. Be my guest. It just, when I visualize Venom, I didn't think it would be that. I guess I'm just the wrong crowd for it. And I didn't think it was as fun as people made it out to be. The music, yeah, Danny Elfman's great music versus who gives a fuck? Who the fuck remembers any music from Venom 2? The theme, the score. No one remembers a goddamn thing about it. Like most music nowadays. I say most, not all. I think the music in The Batman was really good. So good they didn't nominate it for an Oscar. But then these other scores that no one fucking remembers were nominated. But hey, we live in a world that Prey, that shitty Predator film, got nominated for Emmys. For Best TV Movie, Best Writing, Best Directing. I don't know how the fuck it's a TV movie. I guess because it's on Hulu. And I thought it was a really shitty film and it didn't deserve... Whatever the fuck. Whatever the fuck. Whatever. So... Shit. And like I said, the effects being more practical, Tim Burton having a vision. There was no vision in Venom 2. It was, the first film was a hit, shit out a sequel, Carnage popular, they shit on that character. I didn't feel any characters got shit on in Batman Returns. I did feel Carnage get shit on, diluted, minusculed into a nothing personality of a villain. Generic as all hell. Carnage is if you do him properly, he's the opposite of generic. That's what's dumbfounding. You know, people make these movies, you wonder why they make certain decisions like that. Don't get it. Don't understand it. So yeah, Batman Returns easily wins, and that's how you do a sequel well. Take villains, make them interesting, dangerous, creepy, or sexy and sultry. Get a good cast, Dan DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer. Have a director with a vision, in which he made it even more Tim Burton-like compared with the first one. Love the Christmas. It took place at Christmas with the decorations and the snow, and you got great music, you got solid set pieces. None of that in Venom 2. That's why I guarantee you people don't remember Batman Returns a lot more than Venom 2. Didn't learn from the past, but people ignore it because they think they know better, they think they're smarter than they really are. And you get a lot of bullshit today. But hey, what do I know? Even with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you later.